All right, traders, let's jump into the Tuesday, August 22nd market update and trading update. Let's take a look at what happened in the markets today. And we know that we gave back some gains in the market, not terribly, and really nothing major. If we take a look at SPY here on the day, we ran up to the 50 EMA and then failed down, ending just off the lows of the day. One of the positives on the day, though, was you do have a bullish PSAR reversal signal. So a little bit of a reversal signal here, and that's a potential positive for the market. No real damage. It still remains in this trend channel that's heading down. We'll extend this out a little bit more here and try to capture most of that. So you're in this trending channel down. Your MACD is still starting to curl up a bit here, so your lines are getting closer together, even though we're a little bit off of oversold. RSI coming off of our oversold. If we take a look at the weekly chart, we're still well above, or at least above, the 21 EMA on SPY, so which is stacked above the 50, which is stacked above the 200 MA. So right now, there's really no reason to get ultra bearish on the market. There's really not a lot of reason to potentially get bullish on the market either. We just are having a nice little pullback here. Nothing out of the ordinary. We'll see how the markets react going forward. If we take a look at the Qs, same type of thing here. You moved up, pulled back, didn't quite make it to the 21, broke back below the 50 that you had broken a little bit during the session, but MACD still looking a little bit better. Moving up, we are above this support line that we see in here on the daily, and again, just like SPY, the Qs also had a PSAR bullish reversal signal triggered. We remain in an uptrend here on the weekly, moving up. Came down not quite to the 21 EMA and then bounced off. On IWM, we remain on the weekly, just bouncing up and down inside of this channel that we've been in. We did sell off on the day, but again, MACD starting to improve. The momentum of this down move is running out of steam. We're holding on to the 200 MA here, and we remain oversold on RSI. So we'll keep an eye on how things are going, but overall, not a lot of damage, just another downtrend. And I really like the fact that we're in the middle of this channel, which I think, again, strangles here are well worth it. If we take a look, I know there's a lot of lines on this chart, so I do apologize. It's a mess for the most part on the dollar, so the US dollar. But we had an up day yesterday. Now, we did sell off decently during the day, and then we came back to close pretty much right where we started, and we ended right on this previous resistance level, having a tough time breaking through it, and that's where we finished. Now, you can see, and we are recording this on Wednesday morning here, recapping Tuesday, you can see that the dollar right now is resuming that uptrend. So again, strong dollar continues to strengthen. And if we look at the weekly here, it just had, week after week after week after week of uptrend. You're heading right to the PSAR reversal signal here, which has been negative while we've been rising. We're breaking through this little downtrend channel that we have here. So next stop is potentially to test this previous resistance level up in here, and we'll see how things handle when we get up here closer to that 104.75 level on the US dollar. However, look at the MACD and the RSI, very strong. This would be something to buy if you were able to buy it. Or put options on it, but how do you play this dollar? I think you're just looking at the markets and taking a look at what is strong right now. How does this dollar strengthen the dollar? What's it doing to affect your trading? Now, if we look at the daily over here on it as well, MACD was starting to lose momentum, gain a bit back here this morning, and RSI is overbought. So we are a little bit overbought. And if we look at TLT on the day, we had just a little bit of a bounce down here at this level that I've identified as a previous low, that I think we're close to potentially a double bottom now. We'll give it a session or two. On the weekly chart, MACD is heading lower, so there's still potentially some downside to go. RSI still heading down, but starting to flatten a bit in the oversold level. Now, we are potentially oversold at a lesser amount than we were back here on the October lows on RSI and the October lows on TLT, which would mean that if we go any lower, but our RSI doesn't head a whole lot lower, and it looks to be flattening a bit on the weekly, that maybe we have a little bit of a divergence here on RSI. This is getting close to being an area potentially, I think, to want to jump in on TLT. I haven't wanted to jump in until we got down to this area. Let's see how things go today. But I'm going to guess that we are getting very close to wanting to get long on TLT on a longer term basis. All right, futures yesterday were up fractionally on the Aussie dollar. They are down fractionally this morning. The British pound, though, yesterday hung in there pretty well. Today, it is breaking that uptrend. So while this looked good to put something on this week, as it's been holding this uptrend on the daily channel, it is breaking significantly lower today. And I would think if we get any lower in here, we are going to trigger a PSAR bearish reversal here. We're at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, which we're getting tighter. So we've been squeezing on this, and maybe this is finally another move or a leg lower. If we take a look across here, there's been some previous lows right in this particular area. I don't know if we can identify exactly where we are on these. Let's move it to just make sure we're hitting as many of the locations as we can. So we've been coming down to this 126 level, so $1.26 level on the British pound. We are almost back to there again on a pretty significant down day. The previous two times that we've hit it, we've dropped down and reversed intraday and come well off our lows. Today, maybe that will or will not be the case. RSI dropping daily, weekly, and this does not look good here for the British pound. And if we look at the euro, had a pretty decent down day yesterday. It's continuing that momentum this morning in early trading. We'll watch this trend line to see if this holds at all. We are right at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. We are right at the 200 MA. But with the strength of the dollar here, and the fact that this dollar looks to be just marching higher, that does not bode well for most Forex in here. And how are we doing on oil? So if we look at the weekly, the momentum on this move has definitely been coming out. RSI is heading down, momentum's coming out of oil on the weekly. And if we look at the daily chart here, you've had tighter Bollinger Bands. We couldn't break back above the 21 EMA. We're heading down to the 50. Yesterday on the session was a little bit of a down day. Today's a much bigger down day. US dollar is impacting everything. We'll keep an eye on this level here around 77 and change to see if this holds as a potential support level here. So you're going to have the 50, this support, and the 200 MA all in this really 76 to 78 range, 76.5 to 78 range. So you've got a lot of potential support in here on oil, but definitely in a downtrend, and I think that looks to continue for the short term. If we take a look at gold futures on the week, they're up on the week. We were up modestly yesterday. We will be up in trading at the open today. You've got this MACD reversal here. So the momentum of this downtrend has reversed for the last 4 sessions, 3 counting through yesterday. You can see RSI coming well off of its oversold level, running up to 41. Once we get above 50, and if we break above the 0 line on the MACD, I mean, I think it's still a good play in here. I think you're going to get a much more bullish move potentially on the horizon, even though the weekly, you've got a bit of a downtrend, a descending triangle in action here. So we'll keep watching this. So weekly's not great. Daily looking good for a bounce here. Let's just see if this bounce has any weight. I think it's just nice to hold on to strangles here. I think that's perfect for how things are working. If we take a look at some of the sectors yesterday in the market, we had tech dropping, failing at the 21 and 50 EMAs. So not a great sign for tech. However, today we are up in the pre-market. So I think we're going to be looking to continue higher. But this has been a nice steady bounce off of these lows, off of the oversold readings on both MACD and RSI. And you get some curl going on the weekly here. So XLK looking decent, XLY looking exactly the same, XLC looking pretty much the same, XLE energy. So energy has been weak, which you would think if the market's moving higher. Energy is probably going to be a little bit weaker right now as a defensive sector. MACD heading lower, RSI heading lower, and we're right back to this previous support area that we've identified on here, right at the 87.50 or 60 mark, somewhere right in here. So I think that's an area to watch. We're right down, smack down on it today. We are still above the 21 EMA, so nothing here is of major importance, except that this potentially is just a pullback in another leg higher for energy. Still like energy, but getting a little weak in here. We'll keep an eye on how that's moving. Oil is definitely affecting XLE as the dollar is affecting oil, so it's all kind of a domino effect. Financials, not looking too good this week. We've had 2 decent down days in a row, yesterday being a pretty good down day. Now today we may open flat to slightly higher, but we are getting oversold on the daily. So it's an area to watch. This is keeping that Russell in check a bit. But if financials find some bottoming here, and they're right at the 3 average true range here, which is a pretty wide good support area here. So if we break this, but we're right on it, I would think you might find some support in here for at least a little bit of a bounce. It doesn't mean that we're going higher or getting bullish. I just think it's a bounce in this downtrend, maybe back up to the 21 EMA, and then we'll see what happens. Do we continue lower, which is the overall weekly trend? All right, taking a look at some of the stocks that were out there. Most tech was down on the day, not massively, a little bit of a pullback. Amazon just struggling at the 21 EMA here. However, it's indicated slightly higher this morning. So we'll keep watching this, and the uptrend remains intact here on Amazon. It's been a pretty steep uptrend when you're looking at the weekly here. And the momentum's definitely been coming out, but it's a nice little consolidation that we see here, and a bit of a triangle pattern forming. So if we start to draw, we'll draw through these marks like this. If you look at this uptrend line and this downtrend, you're in a pretty nice symmetrical triangle here. You're dead in the center of it. MACD has been weak, but not terrible. RSI has been weak, but not oversold. You are weaker on the weekly with momentum coming out. So the break might be more to the downside, but I wouldn't be surprised to see us bounce and rally a little bit more here. And we'll keep an eye on how things go. But right now, you are still in a bullish trend on Amazon. On Apple, that's not exactly the case. You had a pretty good downtrend. Any bounce here is just a bounce off of these oversold levels. And while we can still go higher, I still would be concerned about Apple at this point in time. You're way below your 21 and your 50 exponential moving averages, and the 21 is now below the 50. So a lot of overhead resistance here of levels that we hit coming down. However, do we want to try to reclaim this gap? So that's a possibility. At some point in time, we'll draw it on here, and we'll be watching this area to see, can we get back up, fill this gap, and then does that give us the next chance to go lower? Once that's been filled, we'll see. But until then, I think we're going to want to try to move a bit higher on Apple, but we'll keep an eye on how Apple's doing. Microsoft, same thing. It's been an up week for Microsoft. I think we're going to see an up morning, a couple points higher today. MACD definitely reversing, coming off of nearly oversold levels here. PSAR bullish reversal yesterday. So Microsoft looking well here. It broke its uptrend. We're not really watching that trend anymore. We'll watch this previous support level to see if this thing comes out and becomes any kind of a resistance level here for us. I think we're going to be breaking through that today. And then we're going to, so that we'll see if that flips and becomes a support level again. So support, then resistance. Now, potentially, it could flip to become support again, which also puts us above the 50 and the 21 EMAs. So positive looking moves on Microsoft. Meta, same type of a play. Couldn't break through the 50 yesterday, but I expect that we may go slightly higher, at least at the open today. MACD starting to reverse a bit here, coming off of nearly oversold levels. Still nothing super positive. I wouldn't be betting the boat on any of these stocks at this point in time to make significant moves higher, but I think you can swing yourself a bit higher on these. If we take a look at, we've got a descending triangle on Google. It's just been consolidating for, I'd say, 3 weeks or so in here and doing nothing, which has been perfect if you're a premium seller like we are. So I think selling puts here was a good move, or is a good move on this. And you're still holding the uptrend. You're still above the 21. You're still above the 50. You haven't even tested it yet. Bollinger Bands are really getting tight. So you are squeezing here. You're getting ready for a move in one direction or the other. If I'm a betting man and playing the probabilities, MACD starting to reverse, RSI swinging higher above 50. So I think if I'm looking at this downtrend channel here, which kind of forms this descending triangle, I think we can break that. We could possibly break that today to the upside. We'd have to get above 130 on Google, and then we see if this flips at all. But Google looking the best, just consolidating here. If we get any kind of a rally in the market, I would look for Google to potentially be a leader. And then just the craziness that is NVIDIA. Sold off a bit yesterday after hitting new highs and taking us back to a new high up around 481. Pulled back today and closed at 456. We're going to get a little bit of a bounce. We got earnings after the bell. I'm still watching this gap area down here. At some point, we may want to fill this. It doesn't mean we're filling it tomorrow. We could fill it in 2 years for all we know. But MACD punching higher, RSI rising, PSAR is bullish. You're above the 21, stacked above the 50, stacked well above the 200. We'll see how it goes on NVIDIA today. And if we're taking a quick look at expected move in NVIDIA, if we take a look at the 2-day options, it's right around 50. So you're looking at roughly 50 points up or down. So about a 10% move on earnings today. And then Tesla, decent bounce on this week so far. Had a good gap up day yesterday, even though it came down close to the lows. It is looking lower in the pre-market, but you do have RSI coming off oversold, MACD moving, PSAR bullish reversal yesterday. And then we'll keep an eye on this particular level. If this flips here, it's not the strongest support level here, but we did come down, ended on it. We did bump on it, and then we gapped above it. So we'll see if things hold in here. 21 below the 50, which is not a positive sign. So Tesla, along with Apple, as these, and Microsoft, those are all with their 21s crossing below the 50 EMA. Let's jump into how the account performed on the day, and let's look at a couple trades. All right, so if we jump into the account for the 22nd here, we ended the day with delta around 818. So our delta was definitely up on the day, which at 0.29 continues to be a concern of having too much positive delta in this particular account. So we will keep an eye on this. We haven't been able to get much of a rally, which in my opinion would give us the chance on that rally to take off some longs. So we're going to keep watching how things are going here, but we need to get that delta down. It's too big. I've got to reduce delta. I'm either going to be taking some trades off or putting some potential hedges on, but we've got to lower that delta. As portfolio managers, to me, it is a bit too high for where we need to be. It's going to open down today if we get an up move in the market, but still way too high. Theta, 872, fantastic theta. So we've got great theta, 0.31%, which is the best theta we've had in quite some time. Net lick did bounce up again yesterday, 283, 968. Going back, it's about where we were a week ago, but for the month as a whole, we're almost back to our all-time highs of 286. So we're just a good day away from all-time highs. BP usage did bump up yesterday to 167. A reason for that, and I put it over here, is I added BIL into the portfolio yesterday, and we're seeing that hitting our buying power usage. I'm not too worried about that. It's not really affecting the overall buying power that I'm worried about for futures or anything. It is taking some buying power. I put on quite a bit of it, almost $30,000 worth of bill. It's going to cost me $6,800 in BP. I can always close that out if I need the space for buying power. I just am aware that right now, out of my 167, 66 of that is in BIL. I may add more to that. I'm going to probably take that up to about 20% roughly of net lick. So right now we're sitting at 10%. So I'll probably double my position in bill. I can always close that if we have a margin issue on BP, but knowing that I'm going to keep my BP in check, I don't mind spending a little bit there. BIL generating a little over 5% annual on just the cash portion of my account. So I'm all good with that. No real big deal. And we made $430 on the day yesterday. Again, 2 0 DTE trades, which is not my main forte. However, this market's been perfect for that, either swing trading or directional trading 0 DTE. I am not putting on at the money iron flies and looking for that vol drop after the open. I'm not playing that non-directional method. I play directional right now, and we put a put butterfly on. So we actually had a put butterfly on yesterday in the market, and that paid off well. We took in 115% gain on that particular one. Not a ton of money, $115. It's just something to give us a little bit of income while we sit here and wait for the market to pick a direction. But we opened the morning and moved up over the morning yesterday with a little gap up, and then we sold off. So as we started to sell off on that trend, that's when I put on that put butterfly. I also sold a 0 DTE call as we were up at those highs. As we sold off and came down to the lows of the day and hit the uptrend line, I was able to then put on a put spread. So I just turned my call spread into a put spread here and turned it into an Iron Condor. We took it off at 50% winner, which is totally fine. So I'll be happy to take 315 bucks in on that overall on the day on these two, making $430 while we just wait for our theta to continue to decay. We wait for the markets to decide where they're going to go. We had a pretty good late day sell-off yesterday, breaking the little 15-minute uptrend line that we were watching. We'll see what happens today. We came back to it yesterday. We'll see where we move on things today. But other than that, it looks like Wednesday, a positive open. We'll see if that continues. Not a strong open, just a positive open. And we'll continue to watch where we go. It's all good. We're getting great decay. We're moving up well. And having a great week so far in the account. So again, overall, another 430. We're up on the week so far, 650 bucks on mostly just zero DTE intraday trading while we wait for premium to come in and our theta to decay. We are up 5,977 now, so almost $6,000 on the month. We're up 2%, so we're close to our 3% goal. And then our monthly net lick here we'll update the formula here, and we're down slightly on net lick, about 0.8%. All good here because we're actually generating cash on the weekly basis. So we'll watch to see what we have coming off. We have a couple strangles on 6A and 6E, so the Aussie dollar and the euro. Those strangles are currently down. We do have a 112 on oil that is up 90% in 40 days. We have another 112 on oil that's up 46% in 23 days. We have a strangle on oil that's basically flat, slightly down on oil at this point in time. We've got some ES hedges. One of those is coming off today, so we will obviously take a loss on Wednesday. As that hedge comes off, we'll put a new hedge on, and we'll just continue to hedge our portfolio and try to keep that delta in check, which is just a bit too high. We've also got a long-term 112 that's getting close to having the naked puts come off. They are at 90%. I'm going to wait a little longer to get 95% on those. That's one of the September long-term 112s. It may or may not hit this particular month, so we may not realize that income till next month. And then we've got several gold strangles on, all of them positive, 18%, 23%, 8% on those. Our ES strangles as well are up nicely. We've got one up 14%, one up 27%, one up 23%, one up 20%. So we're in good shape on ES strangles. Nat gas, we've got a 112 just to put debit spread. That put debit spread is close. It's right on the edge of the trap. So that's actually up 34%. We've already taken the naked puts off. Got another nat gas strangle. That strangles up 11% on nat gas. We've got soybean, 2 PDSs left from some 112s. Both of those are outside the trap, so just waiting for those to come off. And that's really where we are. And then a couple, an SPX bear trap that we have on. That thing is down just 80 bucks right now. If the market moves up at all today, probably flatten that out. But it is in the trap with 5 days to go. We'll be watching that, excited to see where that hits to. And then we have some SPY leaps, all of them down a bit. Nothing major. We're all good on SPY as the market just hasn't picked a solid direction here yet. Let's see if we get any kind of a bounce or if that thing just turns around and heads lower. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.